Now alpha, to get alpha, we're going to need the gradient of AO. The gradient of AO or OA, remember the equation of OA is given by y is equal to -1 over 2x. That means that the gradient is -1 over 2. 10th alpha is equal to -1 over 2. That means that alpha is going to equal second function 10 of that. But what I'm going to do is I'm first going to work out the second function 10, or the inverse function of +1 over 2, which is going to give me an answer of 26.56, or rather 27 degrees. That's that angle over there, 27 degrees. So to get alpha, I'm going to say 180 degrees minus 27 degrees, which is going to equal 153 degrees. That means that alpha is equal to 153 degrees. Now remember, we are looking for AOC. AOC is going to be given by alpha minus theta, the big angle, minus that small angle over there, to be left with that. So that's going to be 153 degrees minus 45 degrees. 153 minus 45 is equal to 108 degrees. The third one I gave you to do had a right angle triangle PQR, with RP or PR the hypotenuse, Q the coordinates 3 and 5, R the coordinates 4 and B, and P the coordinates -2, -1. Angle QPR is given by beta. Let's just write that over there. That's beta. And M the midpoint of PR. The first thing I asked you to do was to determine B. Now in order to do that, remember that B is part of the coordinates of R. PQ and QR are perpendicular to each other. That means that the gradient of PQ multiplied by the gradient of QR should equal -1. The gradient of PQ is going to be given by y2 minus y1, so it's -1, over x2 minus x1, which is -2. That multiplied by the gradient of QR, the gradient of QR is going to be given as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that has those two multiplied by each other have to equal -1. 5 minus -1 is 5 plus 1, which is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. 6 over 5 multiplied by b minus 5 over 1 is equal to -1. That means that b minus 5 is equal to -1 multiplied by 5 over 6, to get rid of it on that side. That means that b is equal to -1 times that, which is equal to -5 over 6. Take the 5 across, it's going to become +5 or +30 over 6, common denominator. That means that b is equal to -5 plus 30, which is 25 over 6. You don't need to simplify it any further. If you do want to, that can become 6 into 24 4 times, remainder 1 over 6. So the coordinates of B are going to be given as 25 over 6. I then asked you to calculate the coordinates of M, which is the midpoint of P. I then asked you to calculate the coordinates of M, which is the midpoint of PR. That's going to be given as y2, 25 over 6, plus y1 over 2. Sorry, this is the y coordinate. We start off with the x coordinate, which is going to be 4 plus minus 2, or 4 minus 2 over 2, and y2, which is 25 over 6, plus y1, which is negative 1, so it's going to be minus 1 over 2. 4 minus 2 is 2 over 2 is 1. 25 over 6 minus 1 is the same as 25 over 6 minus 6 over 6, which is 25 minus 6 is going to give me 19 over 6 divided by 2, which is the same thing as 19 over 6 multiplied by 1 over 2, which is the same as 19 over 12. That means that the coordinates of M are given by an x value of 1 and a y value of 19 over 12. I then asked you to calculate the size of RPQ, or rather the size of beta. Now, in order to get the size of beta, we are going to have to look at gradients. First, I'm going to look at the gradient of PQ. M of PQ, the gradient of PQ is y2 minus y1, which is 5 plus 1, which is 6, over x2 minus x1, so that's 5. So the gradient of PQ is equal to 6 over 5. That means that the total angle, theta, angle of inclination, is equal to the inverse function tan of 6 over 5, because remember, M is equal to tan theta. That means that theta is equal to the inverse function tan of the gradient. If I find this inverse function of 6 over 5, that's going to give me an answer of 50.19 degrees. So I'm going to leave it as 50.2 degrees. 50.2 degrees is that angle theta. Now let's look at the small angle here. Let's call this alpha, because remember, the big angle minus that small angle is going to give us beta. So to get that small angle, that's the angle of inclination of PR. Again, we're going to say the gradient of PR is going to be given by 25 over 6 y2 minus y1, so it's plus 1 or plus 6 over 6, divided by x2 minus x1, which is going to give me 25 plus 6 is 31 over 6, divided by 4 plus 2 is 6 over 1, or rather multiplied by, tip and times, multiplied by 1 over 6. 31 over 6 multiplied by 1 over 6 is going to give us an answer of 31 over 36. Now remember, we know that alpha, that angle over there, that small one there, is equal to tan, or rather M, gradient of that, gradient of PQ, PR.